Unity is only seen by a Trinity from our point of view, because when you have the beginning of everything, nothingness, you have one dot, nothing else, that's unity, not union, just unity. So it's only one thing, but that only one thing cannot know that it is unless it observes itself. So for the unity to know what it has within has to observe, so that's why it goes out and creates duality, which is a different point of view to observe itself. But to do that, you need to move yourself to see if what you see is real. So you have to change your point of view, which makes 3 points to look from, which creates a triangle that was the first shape in the universe that ever existed. The famous triangle image with the all-seeing eye means, oh now I see that what I am, and I will continue to do so. To observe itself further, it creates a tetrahedron, which is geometrically the first structure that makes anything that exists. That's why Trinity is so important to understand unity, to start to create different perspectives of itself. To understand itself more, it had to create more perspectives to see who it is. It did it by creating an octahedron. The octahedron would be 6 spheres or beings representing the pattern of life in the universe. That's why the flower of life is 6. In other forms, they take the shape of the egg of life, and in a geometric form, which they would later adapt to instead of vibration and waves, would be the Star of David. It is the main structure of the creation of every living being in the universe. And then by polarity, to have a being living in between time and space, the 6 patterns of time have to split into another 6 parts, so then you have the 12 spheres or the 12 beings, which we call the Elohim, together form the seed of life or the seed of the universe. These beings are what we know as archangels in light and human forms, and they create the beginning of the flower of life or the fruit of life. In geometric form, they create the metatrons cube, in which the Vitruvian man fits perfectly. Splitting and multiplying more and more, eventually, they create the flower of life. Which contains all previous forms and patterns within itself. It also concludes the chakra system, the tree of life, and our DNA structure. These patterns and processes we can see in everyday life. Here are 2 examples: the creation of a galaxy and the cellular growth structure. Splitting and multiplying thousands and thousands of times more, moving away from just vibration, we eventually come to the first living being, which we call God or Source. From there, our Source, or God, split himself into 1,000 more pieces to have multiple different experiences simultaneously. All these beings lived in the unconditional love and light of the Source. But some got tired of it and didn't want it anymore. Unable to live together in their newly created world, they had to split off and create a new world. Eventually, hate and love took multiple lesser and more potent forms, creating more worlds, which we call the dimensions of love and consciousness. When there were still 9, the beings from what would now be the 5th or 6th dimension got tired and wanted to experience and experiment more. So they created the 3rd dimensional and touchable world, which would be the Big Bang known to us, and is the one we live in today. This world was divided into 24 sectors. As this world was created, the first beings started to come down into this universe in one of the 24 sectors, which is unknown to us. Millions of years later, a few of these sectors were successfully populated, and the first beings in it evolved. The first 2 beings to arrive in our sector from one of the others were the Felines and the Carians. The Felines settled in the Lyra constellation, and the Carians in the Orion one. There they mixed and experimented with their DNA and the local wildlife. The Felines in Lyra would create the first human-like beings, and the Carians the first reptile-like beings. The Carians told them they owned everything they saw before they left, which would later create problems. The human-like beings moved on and populated the Pleiades. A few thousand or million years later, this entire sector was filled with all kinds of beings, and with it ending this video. In the next video, we will look at the first galactic war and the creation of the Anunnaki. The one after that, we will look at the creation of us, the human race, and religion. Make sure to like and comment to let us know if you liked this video. Subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss another video.